Year of Darkpaw is here. We're preparing for what is expected to be one of the biggest years in EverQuest in recent memory. And it's been a whirlwind year already. We're counting down the top stories of the last 12 months. And we're announcing the Fippy Awards, the EverQuest Show's way of wrapping up a big year of events and releases. The EverQuest Show starts right now.
Not even close to the end, it's just beginning. Life is getting lighter while the days are getting brighter, yeah. Celebrate life, get excited about good times, a good living, come on, shout it out. Hey! Take it up, take it over, take it out of control. Today I'm bringing my soul and now you got me singing,
The Year of Darkpaw is here. This year, EverQuest celebrates 25 years of adventures, questing, monsters, dragons, guilds, raids, and Fippy Darkpaw running towards the Keynote's gates. EverQuest II also passes its milestone 20th year of trade skilling, gathering, shinies, and cloaks. The franchise is healthy, and recent news brings promise and hope for expansion of Norrath into future games. Hello, and welcome into the EverQuest Show. I'm Fading here in the EverQuest Show studios. With the arrival of 2024, Darkpaw Games has announced the Year of Darkpaw, a celebration of EverQuest. And as we charge into the Year of Darkpaw, the EverQuest Show thought it would be a good idea to have our own EverQuest Awards. You've heard of the Oscars, the Tonys, the Grammys. Well, say hello to the Fippies. We're going to count down the top 10 headlines of the past 12 months to find out which will be awarded the Fippy for the biggest headline of the year. I'm also going to look at some of the best looking NPCs and zones released within the past year for both EverQuest and EverQuest II to see who will be awarded the Fippy. Let's start the countdown. As we began 2023, Night of Shadows was fresh content for EQ, and in EQ2, we were still working through Renewal of Row. With the release of the roadmaps at the start of the year, it gave a hint of some big headlines coming to both games. Several of those announcements and the roadmaps for both games made our top 10, including the first entry in our countdown. Number 10, a new user face engine for EverQuest. The user interface for EverQuest is a complex hodgepodge of features added over the last 25 years, and to be honest, it needed some work. So it was a surprise when Jen Chan revealed in the roadmap the endeavor to rework the back-end user interface engine for the game.
This is kind of a multi-year plan where it's like, first let's get everything into the new UI engine.
Different parts of the UI have been ported over the last year, and it paves the way for the possibility of a new UI in the future.
Once that's all converted, once everything's using the new engine and we're able to more easily make changes, then we'll actually do the hard work of, it's like, okay, how do we streamline this interface? You know, what things can we remove that aren't needed, and what things can we add or smooth out to make it easier to use our UI?
Number 9, Extra Life Fundraiser. Over the last few years, Daybreak and Darkpaw have been involved with the Extra Life fundraising campaign. The event was such a success in late 2022 with highly sought after in-game incentives that the Darkpaw team went all in for 2023.
It's a great charity to work with. I can't sing their praises enough.
More individual and collective in-game incentives were announced, and the team was so successful they added stretch goals to extend beyond their initial goals, and the community responded.
And it was a no-brainer for me, seriously. When my favorite game was partnering with raising money for children, that's a no-brainer for me to try and help.
In all, Darkpaw Games, along with their streaming partners, managed to raise over $130,000 for the Extra Life charity for Children's Miracle Network. Number 8, Revelation of EverQuest Dungeons. An entirely new EverQuest game was in development, but it was later scrapped, and I'm not talking about EverQuest Next. EverQuest Dungeon was the name given to a secret but now cancelled game set in the EverQuest universe. We learned of the game through the artist behind some of the concept art at the start of the game's development in 2017 and 2018.
So I was brought into the project to kind of reimagine EverQuest. We want to reboot it, we want to reimagine it, but let's try out some new stuff.
When asked about the project, Daybreak commented saying, "These were from a previous iteration of a potential new EverQuest game. However, that specific concept of the game is no longer the direction we're moving towards. The concepts provided by Farzad may or may not be utilized in future EverQuest games. EverQuest fans had a lot to say about the artwork of that now canceled EverQuest game, and you can see all of that artwork on EverQuestShow.com. And the revelation of EverQuest Dungeons, that's just one of the stories that you'd see if you regularly tune into the EverQuest Show. Here's a few of the other stories you may have missed. The EverQuest Show has now moved into its permanent new studio.
If you're role-playing a character like that, then everything becomes easier. Like, you can just mess around and have a great time because none of it's going to reflect on yourself personally.
Oh my God, I'm checking out Cartoon Network's schedule. I don't see it. When is it airing? How can I get the DVDs for this? And so many people were just enthralled by it.
I hadn't quite realized how slimy and gucky it was going to be. You lay out the design, but then the textures come in later.
If you tell us that we can't put something in the game, then we're going to do everything we can to get that in there. Just look at this plumage.
So the ducks, the duck mount was a really popular one that they did last year.
S-O-W, so.
Oh, so, okay.
I say so.
So, as in sewing.
So?
So.
Sow.
Come on. No, it's got to be so. We're going to go to blows over that one.
And you're watching the EverQuest Show.
So if you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe for regular episodes of the EverQuest Show, as well as our weekly news updates of this week in EverQuest. One of my favorite things about being a fan is collecting real-life merchandise for EverQuest, and this year we got some big news. Number 7, Darkpaw Swag Store. After initially being announced in the 2022 EverQuest II roadmap, the Darkpaw Swag Store officially arrived in 2023. It was first teased in our interview with Jen Chan on the EverQuest Show.
We found a new vendor, and everyone who plays will have something available for them.
Initially, the store has only EverQuest II items as a way to show EverQuest II a little bit more attention in the merchandise area, but expectations are that the swag store could become the location for future merchandise for the 25th anniversary. Number 6, Trade Skill Depot Exploit. In late 2023, the economies of many of the servers took a dramatic hit when an exploit involving the Trade Skill Depot became widespread. Duplication of items using the Trade Skill Depot came to a head over the Thanksgiving holiday, which complicated the response from Darkpaw and its communication of how it handled the exploit. In the end, offenders were banned, and Darkpaw released a statement on their Trade Skill Depot issue, but by that point, the economies of some of the newer servers, like Oakwind, had taken a severe hit. Number 5, Ballads of Zamara, the 20th expansion for EverQuest II. While it wasn't a shock that a new EverQuest II expansion was released in 2023, the milestone 20th expansion for the EverQuest sequel makes for the number 5 spot on our countdown. The expansion launched in November and has overall received positive reviews. The art and style of the expansion has been overwhelmingly player approved, along with a more casual balance to the expansion. Raids are still on the way for Ballads of Zamara in 2024. And speaking of Ballads of Zamara, it's time to announce our first set of Fippy Awards for EverQuest II. New zones are the backbone of a new expansion, setting the tone and using the artwork to tell the story. How a zone looks, feels, and plays dramatically affects the player's experience with new content. In the category for Best New Zone in EverQuest II, the nominees are Splendor Sky Airy, Aether Rotlands, Vashkani, and the Fippy Award goes to Aether Rotlands. The vibrant mix of prismatic colors in various sections of Aether Rotlands brings a beauty to EverQuest II, and it's a show of commitment by the team that a high quality of artistic content is still added to the game, even 20 expansions later. And it's not just the world of Norath that shapes the player experience, but the creatures that you encounter that can give a sense of wonder. In the category of Best New NPC Model for EverQuest II, the winner of this year's Fippy Award goes to the Eriquus. A strange-looking cross between a Pegasus and a dragon, these sky horses may look odd, but they fit in perfectly to Splendor Sky Airy's beautiful landscape. We'll have more Fippies to award for the original EverQuest and the Fippy for the biggest headline of the year. So, let's continue with the countdown. Number 4, the Year of Darkpaw announcement. The excitement over the 25th anniversary has been building for some time, and the official word was that big plans were in store.
In case where we need to invest in the existing business, certain games, we want to do that. EverQuest 25th anniversary, yeah, we should invest in that.
At the end of 2023, we got a surprise producer's letter announcing that 2024 would be the Year of Darkpaw and EverQuest Celebration. With EverQuest celebrating 25 years and EverQuest II approaching 20 years at the end of 2024, the plans should be big. We've already gotten a taste of what's ahead, with regular rewards available for logging characters in at various times throughout the year, as well as new content, collections, and more. But most hopefully, we're still waiting on a big announcement for how Darkpaw is celebrating the anniversary. My hope is for a real-life fan event, but as of yet, no announcements, and time is running short. But whatever is planned or announced, you can be sure that the EverQuest Show will be there to cover the entire Year of Darkpaw. Number 3, Oakwind Timelock Progression Server. The arrival of a new TLP is now the highlight of each year for EverQuest players, especially those that enjoy the TLP playstyle, and this year Oakwind started making waves before it was even fully announced. In an EverQuest Show exclusive, Jen Chan first teased the TLP by giving us a small hint of what was to come.
We're trying something that we've never really done before, and if it works out, we may introduce some of it to live servers.
Then in April, the server information was announced, with Oakwind as the server name and an evolving rule set that included some new ideas. With each expansion, a new perk or modifier would be unlocked. The server would also have encounter locking, as well as a legacy character experience bonus for max level characters on that account. On May 24th, the server launched, and the encounter locking and legacy experience have certainly been an interesting addition to EverQuest, and the evolving rule set adds another intriguing aspect to the expansion unlocks. Number 2, Larian's Song, Alternate Personas, and the 30th expansion for EverQuest. After years of nostalgic expansion revisits, we visit someplace fairly new with EverQuest's 30th expansion, Larian's Song. It's a very smart mix of new content, lore-based review of places we've sort of been before or know about, along with recapturing a feeling of how old EQ felt. It's a brilliant balance that, for the most part, has received positive reviews among the players. Not to mention the art style, which has been the standout for this year's expansions for both EverQuest and EverQuest II. But along with the content for live players comes something for all players, including those on TLPs. The addition of alternate personas, the ability to create different classes for your individual character while retaining things like achievements, trade skills, and flagging. And though the feature encountered some difficulties in beta, it appears to be working smoothly now and has its place in the playstyle of both live players and TLP players. One of the most surprising aspects of Larian's Song was just how many new NPC models were released just within this last expansion. Beautiful new models that went back to basics were at the heart of creatures in Larian's Song. They create a fresh new look to EQ while also evoking feelings between high fantasy and natural surroundings. In the category for Best New NPC Model in EverQuest, the nominees for this year are the Deer and Doe models, the Fox, the Skitterer, and the Fippy goes to the new Fox model. 30 expansions later, and we finally have foxes in the game, though strangely, we've had fox hats for years. The foxes scattered throughout the Larian Song expansion, together with the other forest creatures, provide a sense of earthly wilderness that has been lacking for some time. But despite his arrival in Norath, still no word on exactly what the fox says. And even though there are literally hundreds of zones in EverQuest, the arrival of a new one brings excitement to players. Like the new creatures of Norath, the look of EverQuest's newest zone from Larian Song have an art style that has impressed the players. In the category for Best New Zone in EverQuest, the nominees for this year are Larian Inn, Pal Loman, Timorous Falls, and the Fippy goes to Pal Loman. Not only are the elegant Larian trees here the namesake of the expansion, but the attention to detail to the attack of the Relosians on the Elder Elves gives a real sense of the conflict that has spread throughout this area of Norath's past. And now, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Which headline of 2023 will take home the Fippy for the biggest of the year? And the Fippy goes to... Number 1. Franchise announcement and expansion from G-Ham.
We have a number of first-party owned IP that we believe are highly valuable and can be utilized further for additional titles, EverQuest being at the top of the list.
Late summer brings a usually quieter time in the cycle of EverQuest information release, but not this year. The most significant news about the EverQuest franchise in recent years came from an investor presentation by the CEO of EG7, G-Ham. EG7 is the company that owns Daybreak Games Company and its subset partner studios that develop and manage their live services like Darkpaw Games. In that investor presentation, G-Ham announced the plans for developing franchises for the future of their gaming assets. At the top of that list, and of great value to the company, was the EverQuest franchise, with a promise of a commitment to keep the games healthy, funded, and active.
Existing live games will be maintained with investments necessary. We're not pulling money out, okay? We're going to invest as necessary to continue to prolong. Like EverQuest will be here a decade later.
But the biggest takeaway was a plan to develop the next installment in the EverQuest franchise, a potential new MMO to be developed over the next few years, with a target date of 2028 or later.
EverQuest, I say slotting for 2028, that's not a promise by any means. You know, EverQuest is a tricky one, but we have an idea of how we want to approach it.
Now, any potential new EverQuest game information is always met with hesitation and skepticism, especially given the track record of EverQuest Next and the revelation of EverQuest Dungeons, but news of franchise expansion is some of the most exciting news to come to Norath in recent memory. So what did you think of our top 10 list? Did we get the order right, or was there something we left off completely? Go ahead and comment below with your take on the biggest stories of 2023. And while we're talking about the future of EverQuest in our number 1 headline, it's time now to take a look at what's ahead for the Year of Darkpaw. We've already been given some insight into what's happening for the celebration of EverQuest that is ahead for the next year. So here's a look at what you can expect in 2024. In-game free marketplace items are already available, and while it hasn't been explicitly said so, it is thought that these updates will be monthly, or at the very least will change regularly throughout the year. In the last couple of years, a roadmap for the year has been released in early January, and this year I expect the same. However, given the producer's letter that was just dropped in December, that could be up in the air. But a roadmap would certainly drop a huge amount of information for the big year ahead. Starting January 17th, a new zone will be available in EverQuest called the Anniversary Tower, which was hinted in the last update of the EverQuest Show. The 11 floors of the tower will be unlocked over time via quests throughout Norath that will give specific currency called Year of Darkpaw Timeless Tokens. That vendor will be available soon, and new collections are already in-game. I especially enjoy the new special Year of Darkpaw shinies that are available in both EverQuest and EverQuest II. As we approach the 25th anniversary of EverQuest on March 16th, I also expect some new merch will be available in the Darkpaw swag store, and while this isn't 100% yet, it was asked of Darkpaw, and their response was, probably, but not at the beginning of the year. The usual announcements for the start of the year are also expected, including the next TLP server or servers, which in the past have been hinted at in March, announced in April, and launched in May or June. Of course, a whole host of EverQuest II 20th events are also likely, along with the expected 21st expansion for EverQuest II and the 31st expansion for original EverQuest. There's so much ahead for the next year, and while Darkpaw has a lot planned, so does the EverQuest Show. Plenty of new episodes and some new ideas on the way as well, but it takes a lot to produce this show, so I'm always looking for help. From story ideas to being on the show to creating content, if you think you'd be interested in helping out the show in any way, check out the EverQuestShow.com and look for the Help Wanted story. As always, comment below on anything that you've seen in this episode or that you'd like to see in a future episode. Thank you for continuing to support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in Norath.
We gotta be the best we can be. And though sometimes we don't want to, still we gotta chase our dreams. Reach up and reach high, because we're gonna pull it through and give it all we got, even though it can seem hard to catch and make it happen. But we can't start sliding, come on, and do what you gotta do to fight on. And so no matter what comes your way, nothing can ruin your day or even wipe a smile away. And by the time I'm up and out of my bed, I got 100 new ideas floating around in my head, with the hope for tomorrow, a dream that I can see of all the awesome things, the great people we can be. Or maybe by the music or the songs that I sing, I'll change the world with the simple message that I will bring. All I know is that it's out there, there's more to discover, a lot of good things